Einstein, back in his day, said and proved that everything is energy. Can increase, improve, and strengthen your personal energy. You really want to be kicking butt all afternoon long, not dragging butt all afternoon long because you had a big lunch or you ate a bunch of crappy food. You can improve and regulate your sleep so it's going to give you more energy. Humming, very powerful thing to do for your system, for your energy, and to relieve stress and calm the body down. We want to apply this energy where we want our life to go, who we want to be, what we want to accomplish. We can all live better lives. Now you've got some tips, secrets, tricks, and habits that you can implement as easy as today to get going, to have more energy.
Welcome to the Leadership and Love podcast. We will cover leadership, mindset, personal development, and sales and marketing. You will experience thought-provoking conversations with both nationally and internationally recognized leaders. Our goal is to inspire you and deliver actionable items that you can implement that are going to help you accelerate your growth. Get ready to discover the magic and the power when you lead with love.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Leadership and Love. So, on this episode, I want to talk about personal development and specifically energy. So Einstein, back in his day, said and proved that everything is energy. So what I'd like to talk about today is, as a leader in personal development and leading and loving yourself, I want you to give you some tips and some things that you can implement in your life to improve your energy. So one of the things I'd like to use today as an analogy is I'd like you to imagine that your body is like a car and that your energy comes from a thing called a gas tank. And so now, if you owned a car and it ran on regular gasoline, you certainly would not put water in the gas tank. You certainly wouldn't put diesel fuel in the gas tank. And you certainly wouldn't put jet fuel in the gas tank. All those things are going to make that thing run a whole lot slower and lose energy. So what I want to talk about first is the ways you can increase, improve, and strengthen your personal energy. Now, I want you to understand how important this is because this is going to help you achieve and accomplish whatever you're after in your life, both personally and professionally. So the first thing I want to talk about is sleep. The body needs sleep. When I mentor high school kids, one of the things that I tell them, and I mentor them for presentations around business, one of the things that I tell them is, much like staying up all night to cram for a final, you can't do the same thing with a presentation, stay up all night trying to get ready for it. Our brain, our body does not, I repeat, does not work better with less sleep. So here's a couple of things that you can do to help you get better sleep so you have better energy. First off, get into a rhythm. Our bodies were naturally meant to have a circadian rhythm. We were supposed to get up when the sun comes up and go to bed when the sun goes down. Well, with artificial lights that we all have everywhere, that's kind of been shot out the window. So what you can do is, one, set a specific time that you're going to go to bed. A lot of people make fun of me, but at 8:30 every night, I have an alarm on my phone that goes off, and that gives me an hour. That's in my hour warning that I've got to wrap up my day and get to bed. Now, a couple things happen at the end of my day in that hour. One is I get off all digital devices and all screens. That's done. Two, I lower the lighting. I actually have some special glasses that are blue light glasses that'll take that blue light out and start to slow my brain down so it starts to think like this, kind of like the sun's going down. The other thing is you don't, and I'll talk about food here in a minute, but you don't want to be eating any snacks in the evening. And then what you want to do is the same thing, find your rhythm and get up at the same time every morning. Now, I've always said in previous podcasts, one of the things that you can do is just take one thing from this podcast and implement it. So you can start at one end or the other of this thing. You can either start in the evening or you can start in the morning, but start really getting your body into a rhythm and a routine of sleep. You can also play with the length of sleep. People talk about you know, you need 6 hours as a minimum, 7, 8. That's going to be what you work best on. So you want to figure that out for yourself. And once you've got that figured out, then you can figure out what time you're going to bed and what time you're getting up in the morning. But sleep is very, very important if you're going to maintain and even improve your energy. Next thing I'd like to move to is food. Now, remember my car analogy with the gas tank. Your body is just like that car. You can't put candy, alcohol, ice cream, cake, cookies, processed food, TV dinners, fast food. You can't put all that crap in your body and think that your body's going to run at an optimum level and you're going to have lots of energy. Not true, not true, not true. So keep in mind, everything that you're going to put in your mouth is either making your energy stronger and more vibrant, or it's wearing out and using your energy. So if you're not putting in good fuel, much like that car example, the analogy, then you want to start shifting into better eating habits. You'll be amazed at how much better you're going to feel when you stop eating processed food, fast food, anything that's high sugar, and get into eating stuff that's just one ingredient. It's one of the things I do at home. If I go out, I'll let myself splurge every now and then. But when I'm at home, I eat things that have one ingredient. Carrots, broccoli, apple, orange, banana, salmon, fish of some sort. But you want to make sure you start putting in good energy. Now, when we talk about food, I'd like to talk about a couple of things. One is to maximize your energy. We've all had that sensation of the feeling of eating a really big lunch, and then about 2:30, 3 o'clock, you just start to die. That's because you spiked your sugar level with all that food, and now you're crashing. So a great way to maintain your energy through the afternoon, eat a very light lunch. Eat a salad, eat some fish. One of the other things you want to be aware of is, what are you drinking? Alcohol, pop, anything high in sugar, anything high in caffeine, not good for you. It's got that energy level spiking and then crashing, spiking and crashing. So you want to make sure that you're drinking and eating everything that's going to make you healthier, stronger, more energized. You really want to be kicking butt all afternoon long, not dragging butt all afternoon long because you had a big lunch or you ate a bunch of crappy food. Now, here's a couple of different things that will help you with portions. First one is, if you put your hands together and cup it, and for those of you that are listening and not watching, I've got both my hands together and cupped. That's about the size of your stomach. So you should not be eating anything, any meal should be able to fit in these cupped hands, and so that you could put the meal in these hands and eat it. If you're eating more than that, then you've stretched your stomach out. Now you can stretch your stomach back by reducing the size of your portions. I had a very good friend of mine. He lost over 100 pounds in a year. He only did one thing. Everything that was put in front of him, he cut it in half. He ate half of it, and he either gave the other half away, or he saved it for leftovers and ate it at another meal. But every serving that was put in front of him, he cut it in half. He didn't eat anything different. He just cut his portions in half. Lost 100 pounds. Also, his energy, his attitude, his health, all that skyrocketed because he dropped 100 pounds. So now, here's another thing that you can do. Eat till you're 80% full. Most of us are eating these days while we're doing something else. Guilty as charged. I've done this a number of times. Really want to be eating and focus on just that, be eating. Not wolfing it down while you're watching TV or reading the newspaper or scanning social media. You want to be present when you eat, and you want to eat till you're about 80% full and then stop. Most of us, and I'm guilty of this as well, I've eaten, and sometimes I still do. I'll eat till I'm way past full, and then but I don't know I've eaten past full because I eat so fast that by the time I'm done eating and wolfed it all down, the full comes after I'm done eating. So if you slow down your eating process, then that's going to help you eat till you're about 80% full. Now, this is very important for your energy. Remember that lethargic, down in the dumps, like you're out of gas in the afternoons because you ate a big meal. It's going to happen in the evening. It's going to happen in the morning if you're having a big meal for breakfast, if you're having a big meal at lunch, if you're having a big meal at dinner. And when I say a big meal, remember, cupped hands. If it's more food than your cupped hands, then you're probably eating too much. Now, this also is going to lend itself to knowing your body and what you need to eat in these servings, because you want to make sure you get plenty of good vitamins, minerals, and protein. Now, when we talk about energy, we talked about sleep and how you can improve and regulate your sleep so it's going to give you more energy. It's also amazing what sleep does for your attitude, because it gives you energy for your brain to think and you're not tired. So sleeping, very powerful. Second thing we talked about was food. What are you eating? What are you drinking? And the size or the portions of what are you eating? What are you drinking? Now, while I was thinking about this, I'd like to add as well, the rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces. So I weigh 165 pounds. So I drink somewhere between 75 to 85 ounces of water every day. That's what my body needs to be hydrated. And that's what a number of different people, studies, scientists, doctors, the whole shebang, say that you should be drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. And a great way to measure that is just simply I have 16-ounce glasses. I have one at work, I have one at home, I keep one in my car, and at that point, I count how many 16-ounce glasses of water I drink all day long. And for me, that's 5. And I'll often start with 2 right off the bat in the morning. I'll drink 1 in between breakfast and lunch. I'll drink 1 at lunch, and then I'll drink another 1 at dinner. And then that keeps me from getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, because the last water I put into my body is at dinner. While I'm speaking about dinner, you don't want to eat any later than at the very max 7 o'clock, depending on what time you go to bed. But ideally, if you can eat somewhere between 5 and 6, your body's always doing one of 2 things. It's either digesting food or it's recharging. And so if you eat too close to bedtime, then you're not getting good sleep, because your body's busy digesting food instead of doing what it's supposed to be doing when you sleep. And that is recharging, regenerating, and renewing everything that you've spent or used during the day. So now I want to get to, how are you spending your energy? We've talked about some things that are going to protect and even build and increase your energy. Now, how are you spending it? So I'm going to go back to my car analogy. We've all seen people that at a red light, they stop on the gas and then we get to the next red light and they're sitting there waiting for us. And so they're wearing out, they're using way too much gas, and they're wearing out their brakes because they're expending a lot of energy to get to the same place we got to by simply accelerating gently and then slowing down gently. Same thing's true with your energy. You really want to pace yourself through the day. And there's a number of ways to do that. Taking some deep breaths every now and then when you feel yourself starting to get in a big hurry or feeling stressed or worried. Great way is just take a minute or two, literally a minute or two, and just take a couple of deep breaths. If you breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, out through your mouth for a count of 8, a couple of times, that's going to slow your whole system down. It's going to calm you down. Another thing that you can do for your sympathetic nerve system is hum. Humming, very, very powerful for your vagus nerve. I don't have the time to go into the vagus nerve and what it does, but just trust me on this one. Humming, very powerful thing to do for your system, for your energy, and to relieve stress and calm the body down. But the thing I really wanted you to be aware of is start tracking, what are you doing in your day? Are you hanging around with a lot of negative people? Are you dealing with people either at work or at home where there's a lot of confrontation, there's a lot of arguments, there's a lot of stress or strain on that relationship. If that's something that you're doing on a regular basis, keep in mind you're like the guy stomping on the gas pedal, but you're knowingly doing it by continuing to play in these relationships. So one of the things you can do is take a long, hard assessment at who you're hanging out with, and are they positive or negative. One of the things I share with my clients when I consult business owners or do life coaching, one of the things that I do is I get them to make a list of everybody they're hanging around with, and then put it either a plus or a minus. Are these people more positive, adding energy to your life, or are they negative? Are they draining the life out of you? And we all know those people, and they will drain the life out of you. So get them on your list, and then get them out of your life. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is when we have energy, what we really want to do is we want to spend our energy working towards the things that we want. We all have heard the talk about goals, and you need to know where you're going and what you want. I completely agree with all that. Very, very important to know what you want and where you're going, and taking action to make it happen, right? And so that's one of the reasons why we want all this energy. We want to apply this energy where we want our life to go, who we want to be, what we want to accomplish. So I will share with you that, again, audit your day. In the course of a day, how much of your day that you're focused on, both your personal and professional goals, are you spending more of your energy and your precious time on the things that you want in your life, or are you focusing on the things that aren't as important? A great one of those, and I'm struggling with this one myself, and I'm open to ideas, but social media is just a black hole, right? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it can suck you in, and before you know it, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours is gone. That's not the way to spend your energy. And now I've got a couple of thoughts that I've been using that seem to work pretty well. One of them is whenever I go on social media, I set a timer. And when that timer's up, I don't care where I'm at, what I'm doing, I'm done, I turn it off. There's also some settings on some of these social media channels where you can set a timer inside the app itself, and it's going to tell you, like on YouTube, you could set YouTube to only let you watch 30 minutes a day, and then it will turn off when that 30 minutes is up. But again, you want to make sure that you're not spending your energy on social media, on negative people, hanging out at a bar. I'm not saying don't go out and have a good time. I'm just telling you that walk into a bar, that's negative energy. There's people sitting in there that have been sitting in there for 20, 30 years at the same bar stool, drinking the same thing day in and day out. That's not the place to be hanging out, not for your energy. And that's true of be aware of everywhere you go. A great place to hang out for energy is nature. Get out into nature. One of the things I love to do on a regular basis, now I'm in the Chicagoland area, so I can't do it in the winter, but in the summer, I'm out in my yard with barefoot in the grass. It's just amazing how much that does for our mental attitude, our health, our well-being, the whole shebang. So one of the things I want you to know is that through this podcast, I've been talking about energy and all these different things you can do. So as usual, what's one thing that we've talked about today that I've mentioned that you could start implementing today? And maybe the first thing you can do is simply start a page and write down, what are you eating in the course of a day? What are you drinking in the course of a day? Where are you spending your time? Where are the places you're hanging out? Who are the people you're hanging out with? And again, all of them, once you track something like that, it's either a plus or minus. It's a positive thing getting better, or it's a negative thing sucking your energy. Positive is adding to your energy. And so, again, we can all live better lives. And this is one of the things in personal development that is going to be very powerful. Sleeping and eating correctly with exercise and meditation, all of them are keystone habits. If you change your diet, your life changes. I'm actually going to throw down a challenge. I can tell you that, and this isn't to be gross or disgusting, but I can tell you that if you start eating well, and I mean and don't eat anything processed, no sugar, none of that stuff. If you just eat ingredients with one item for about 30 days, I can tell you that anything that comes out of your body will not have an odor, and you won't have a need for toilet paper. Cavemen didn't use toilet paper, didn't need to. They weren't eating TV dinners. They weren't drinking Diet Cokes. They weren't chugging beers. They weren't eating candy bars. So again, your body knows how to help heal itself and build even more energy. So again, whatever you're putting into it, both your mind and your mouth, it's either giving you more energy or it's sucking your energy. So where do you want to spend your energy? Whose life do you want to make better because you've got more energy? Now you've got some tips, secrets, tricks, and habits that you can implement as easy as today to get going to have more energy. So I hope you got some value out of this. If you did, please leave us a review and or share it with a friend, or both would really make our day here. We've got a team that does a lot of work on these podcasts, and we'd really love some feedback and feed forward. Mike Jones, we'd get some feed forward on how we can do, how we're doing, and how we can improve it. So again, thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day and be energetic because you have the power to do it.
Thanks again for joining us and listening to this episode of Leadership and Love. I would like to challenge you to ask yourself, what's one thing that you heard today that you can implement immediately to improve your leadership and accelerate your growth? If you've gotten value out of this episode or learned something that you can implement today, we'd ask that you please share it with those that you care about. Our goal is to create more leaders who are leading with love.